let's get into another guy that's, you know, I'll say not as proven, but certainly someone I'm not worried about at all. Duce Robinson at wide receiver for USC. You know, recruiting out of high school, he very highly sought after by a lot of schools. His recruitment was kind of back and forth. You know, you thought like, oh, is Bama in on this? Then you're like, oh, well, he's going to Georgia. You know, like the crystal balls were out, and then you see all of a sudden he officially visits USC, and then you see a bunch of crystal balls just kind of pop up for USC because all these recruiting experts want to be right. Yeah, so he was recruited out of high school. They thought they were gonna. I think a lot of teams thought they were gonna put on 20 or 30 pounds on this guy and play him at tight end, but no, sir. He's gonna stick at his 225 and he's gonna play wide receiver and he's gonna be an absolute mammoth. Kind of gives me
Well,
in terms of size profile, he's Drake London. Size wise, they kind of play a little bit differently, but size wise, Drake London, right?
yeah. And part of that, I think, had to do with the fact that he is an elite baseball player and he wants to play outfield for the USC
Yes.
Trojans in the baseball season. And he was a freak, not only in high school and a freak athlete in football, but also baseball. He was the third athlete ever to be named an Under Armour All American in both football and baseball. And the other two, Kyler Murray and AJ Brown, right? Two guys that, first of all, that Lincoln Riley knows a good bit about Kyler Murray, but I mean, those guys are freaks in the NFL as well. To me, we talked about it earlier with the dual sport with Nico, right? Duce Robinson having that football and baseball background. I love that. Recruit as a tight end, like you mentioned. He came in as a summer enrollee, and he was a guy that, yeah, you thought it might take for a little bit to get on the field because not only was that room pretty crowded on paper, but he was also a little bit raw, trying to get there. Yes, he's got the athlete and the tools to get it figured out, but he still had 16 catches, 351 yards as a true freshman, two touchdowns. This guy, the more and more I look about him, the more and more I hear about him, I get so excited to see what he can do with Miller Moss.
Yeah, and if you look at they let some really good wide receivers on their team just walk away, and two of them went to the draft. You had Taj Washington, Brendan Rice. You had Dorian Singer left in the transfer portal,
Mario
and
Williams to
Mario
Tulane.
Williams left in the transfer portal. Pretty big name guys, if you ask me. Probably some highly sought after folks in the portal there, and they only got one wide receiver in the transfer portal, and he's from Tufts, Jaden Richardson. We talked about him in our Miller Moss video a little bit, but it feels like the staff thinks they got something here. Now, I'm sure the spring portal is going to come, and you better believe that Lincoln Riley is going to see his wide receiver depth. He's going to try to get some for sure. But Deuce Robinson, man, he will be a part of this team's success this year. I mean, you want to talk about thunder and lightning? Deuce Robinson and Zach Branch, like you have to play defense an entirely different way on both of those guys. I mean, Zach Branch just opens things up. And if you have one-on-ones with a guy like Deuce Robinson, it feels like he's just going to outmass you, outbully you, out-athlete you. He's absurd. If anyone wants to know his baseball stats for us, he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He's not starting. He's not starting. But I'm sure he'll get his chance one of these days. But for now, he's just going to be a superstar on the base or on the football field and he'll have to wait his turn for baseball, I guess.
Yeah, he also has a 6'10" uh
Wingspan.
arm like wingspan, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I love how you talked about Zach Branch and Deuce Robinson. That's what I mentioned in my notes here. I was like, they are a perfect partner, a perfect duo for what Lincoln Riley wants to do, for what Miller Moss can do. Freak athlete. And yeah, let's be honest, like they're losing a lot of production at wide receiver. And it was honestly a down year, right? Other than Josh Washington, you kind of missed out on Dorian Singer's production. You thought you were getting a stud from Arizona. Mario Williams has slowly declined since his freshman year, right? Brendan Rice kind of declined as well. With a Heisman Trophy winner quarterback, you were hoping to see elite weapons around him, and they didn't really play as well as you thought they might have. Some fresh blood will be nice, and Deuce Robinson's just that.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know like what kind of youngsters or true freshmen are going to be playing for USC day one at the wide receiver position. But let me tell you, you better believe that Deuce Robinson is going to be a gigantic part of this. He got some playing time last year. He found his way on the field. So I guess Xavier Jordan looks like they're highest rated receiver. Did they not grab any other receivers? And I guess they're a class. They don't have any other receivers. Is Desmond Stevens playing receiver? I don't know. I don't know. Man, any USC fans want to help fill me in on like what that wide receiver room is going to look like in the fall? Please fill me in the comments, please. But it'll definitely include Duce Robinson. Let's talk about Avery Johnson. We got two more players to talk about. Two more players. Stay with us. Avery Johnson, Kansas State. You saw him play in the legendary Pop-Tart Bowl. All right. You saw him play a couple different times this season when Will Howard got hurt. And you saw him just playing different packages. Like, this guy is the real deal. This guy is the real deal. He's an incredible athlete. He's a competitor. He's got a pretty good arm. Dude, he's a winner. He's a winner. That's what this kind of guys that Chris Kleiman just loves. This dude's a winner. This dude is a winner. Did I say that this guy's a winner? He's a winner. I like him a lot. What do you have to say about him?
They did a really good job of putting him in positions to succeed, not rushing him right away. You knew you had a guy like Will Howard who you trusted to get things done, but there was also a nice skill set that Avery Johnson brought in terms of pure electricity, running the football that Will Johnson did not have. And it was different gear added to this offense. I loved it. You saw it in the Pop Tarts Bowl. You got a full chance to see the Avery Johnson show. Pop Tarts Bowl MVP, by the way. He played in 8 games, 2 starts, right? 37 for 66, 497 yards, 5 touchdowns.